And hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Flashbacks. This is Dane, and with me, as always, is Danny. How you doing today, Danny?
Pretty good, man. Looking forward to checking out some of this game. What do we got here?
We got Magic: The Gathering Battlemage on the PlayStation 1. We're going to an old school card game of
Yeah, I
sorts.
know. I know Magic. MTG. It's a collectible card game.
Yeah, but we're playing it on the PlayStation.
All right.
So now, since you know of Magic, but you don't really play Magic, the most interesting thing for me about this video is going to be your reaction to the actual game.
Yeah. Okay.
So, in it, so there's basically two modes. There's campaign, and then there is like head to head. So I'm just starting off a campaign here. You got like or six people you can choose. Uh, they each use kind of different cards depending on their alignment. So she's like a black mage, and she's like a green mage, and he's like white. So you'll kind of get different cards as you play through the
Okay.
game.
Are
And
these characters like part of the MTG lore?
so they technically are part of the MTG lore, some of them, and then some were made just for the game. And on top of that, what's really neat is like we see the card art here for like the big antagonist, Ravadel.
Yeah.
They made a comic book for this. And
Oh,
so
like
this
a
is,
tie-in?
yeah, kind of like a tie-in. So they had a comic book lore, and so this is art. This is the art style from the comic book,
Oh, okay.
which is pretty neat. And
Did you read this comic?
I did not know it existed until later,
Oh, okay.
so I
Not a very
didn't.
good tie-in.
Not a very good tie-in, but I was just like it looked cool.
Yeah.
Um, so basically the story is he uh brings all of these six planeswalkers to this area, and his goal is to kind of sap their strength to make himself better. And this is kind of like a turn-based, it's like partly a turn-based game because here you have territory. So here's my territory, and my goal is to conquer the whole map. And
Is this Risk?
yeah, it's almost like Risk. Yeah. It's so when I go and attack territory, you kind of get these cool well, first you get a nice cool like splash page to show what the territory is, which is really sweet. I love the artwork when I was rewatching it. They have
Yeah, this
different
looks cool.
artwork for different places. And then you kind of get like a story. It's like we get a story thing going on that determines if we're successful or if we get items. So this person's asking me a question, and then I have like three responses, and you generally get like the I'm going to defend the area, or I'm kind of neutral, or you know, generic evil response of screw you guys, I'm taking over. And
Yeah.
depending on the place, like choices matter. So all the choices here actually matter. Um, so this one here, if I choose, I've decided to give my life. Uh, this person is like, oh, thank you for this. Your heart is truly aligned with the best interests of the area. And then I get another choice, which can determine what I'm gonna get. Uh, so
Okay.
so I got a choice, and I already know the answer for this because it gives you four cards.
Are those
So
real cards in
these are
Magic?
real cards in Magic. So everything in this game is from fourth edition, which is the 1995 set. And
Oh, okay. So
so
this when this game come out?
96 on PC, 97 on PS1.
96, 97.
Yeah.
So this is kind of in the middle of like MTG Mania, like when it was blowing up.
Yeah. When it was initially blowing up, this was getting during that time. So, because it's a card game, you make a deck, and all the cards you get, you can use to make your deck with. And the more places you get, the more cards you get, and the more powerful the deck. And then you just have to, once you run into the other dudes, you like actually fight them.
Mm-hmm.
So
So those are all cards from a list you were picking.
yeah, those are all the cards that I currently control
So
in the
you
game.
play Magic, so you know what all those cards do because they're real.
Yeah, every single card in this game is a real card.
But what if you didn't know? Are there tooltips to tell you what they do? Or
So
do you
there,
just need to know what they do?
that's a very good question. So there is an encyclopedia, and there is the dual mode, which can kind of show you uh, what the cards are. So so right now I'm in campaign, so it's basically if you don't know it, you gotta learn what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a bit of a you know uh what's the word I'm looking for? Don't
There's kind of a buy-in. Like
yeah,
you have to know MTG in order to play this.
yeah, you gotta know MTG in order to play this for sure. So
Oh, real
and
quick here. I don't know if this is showing up on your side, but I see a mouse cursor. It might not even show up on your feed, but there it is. It's gone now.
yeah, uh, thank you for that. So again, here's another person, gives me a little story, and then I can choose a response to what I want to do. So you know what? Let's have a little fun with this, Danny. You tell me the response I should pick from
Okay.
from this.
No, thank you, ma'am. Very well. Please be quick about it. Oh, two choices?
I
Oh,
got
no.
three.
Oh, away from me, you filthy wretch. What does she want to do?
So this is the green is her first reply.
Oh, she wants to clean our clothes.
Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Please
sure.
be quick about it.
All right.
All right. Peace upon your path.
Peace upon your
Wait, what
path.
have you in the way of treasure? Who holds power? Oh, yeah, ask her about these woods.
Okay.
Okay. Ask about treasure.
Okay.
Okay. That's just. I want to defend this forest. Can you offer me help?
So that's it for this.
Okay.
And we actually succeeded and got the territory.
All right.
Yeah. So it's funny because this one you can lose some of your stuff depending on your answers.
Yeah.
So if you chose a different route, then you would have lost certain spells.
Okay.
So with
Cards?
cards, yeah. So all the cards are spells, and uh, yeah, which can get quite annoying because sometimes you just straight up lose them for nothing, and then there's other ones where you can lose something, but you get something better afterwards.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a
Which
give and
color are
take.
you on this map?
So I am. This is my color. I'm this like
Okay.
light pinkish orange and such. This dark red is like the big bad, and then these other one and two and three. They're the other planeswalkers that are trying to take over too. So
Okay. Do you have
yeah,
to compete against all of them too?
yeah, I gotta take over the whole world in order to win.
Okay. They're
Yeah,
like bot players.
they are bot players. Yeah.
Is the
So
red one, the big bad, like different than the bot players?
yeah, so the big they're all bot players, but so the big red, who's bigger because I just loaded a save, he's the main bad guy. He's Rivendell, the guy we were talking to at the start,
Yeah.
and the other ones are just other planeswalkers he attracted to this area to steal their power in the lore, And so it's kind of like, like you said, Risk. Everyone wants to get their power back. Everyone wants to take over. And so you got to defeat everyone. Even if I take out Rivendell first, I still have to beat like the blue and the kind of neon and the black territories.
Okay.
So now, if it's neutral, so there's no color around it, then you get the story stuff. But if someone controls it, you go straight into an actual battle. So there is fighting
Okay.
in this game.
All right. Like a little card battle.
Well, that's where I'm gonna love your reaction to this.
All right.
So
I mean, it's Magic the Gathering.
yeah. All right. So Sat, this is one of the other planeswalkers, and I'm just gonna fight him. So
Okay.
yeah. Sometimes you can say like, "Hey, let's be buddies," but there's really no point unless it gives you a card because you have to beat everyone anyways to win.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes the answers don't matter, but they do in the way that you get stuff. So, which can help you out.
Okay.
All right. So welcome to the game.
Whoa.
I know your reaction is like, "What is this?"
What is this?
Yeah. So
Are you God?
You basically kind of are. So they turned it into a real-time strategy game.
Oh, real.
Yeah.
Wait, what is this thing? Who's this dude? Is that
So
you?
this is me, and then there is the enemy, the other planeswalker over here.
Yeah.
So I basically got all my cards and stuff turn into creatures or effects, and then they get put up onto the battlefield, and then I have to move them around. So
Okay.
you're expecting like actual cards, eh?
Yeah, well, it is Magic the Gathering. It wouldn't be unreasonable to expect a card game
I
in
know.
Magic the Gathering, the game.
Yeah. So, but it's all like real time, and
So you're sending your like minions summoned by
yeah,
your cards.
yeah. I'm sending the minions to go and to do stuff.
Now I'm
And
noticing that like as you select cards, the game doesn't tell you what they do or what they are.
no,
Is that just where you just need to know what these are in Magic?
so I can press square, and it will tell me what I got, at least.
Okay, but it's
So,
real time.
but it's real
So
time. So it's get good,
yeah.
basically. Now, yeah, you just got to get good at it. And now the one trick that's different about this game that really it adds an interesting take on Magic is normally in Magic you have your attack and defense, and your defense kind of refreshes every turn. So like if something has 4 defense and you only hit it for 2, it will, be fully healed at the end of turn. But
Yeah.
in this game they do it differently where your defense doesn't refresh. So there's a bit of an extra layer of strategy.
What does it mean? In this game? What does tap mana do?
So if you look at the top of my screen and you see kind of where my cards are, in the middle you'll kind of see those bars, like white and blue for me and blue for the opponent.
Yeah.
Those are my mana. So they're just still using the card lingo of tap, but really it just means to use.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have to destroy his minions before you can deal direct damage to him?
Nope, I can just go straight at him.
Okay, so
So
is that different from the card game? I thought you had to like deal with the cards first before you could deal player damage.
nope, you could deal with the cards first, but really in this or sorry, in the card game, it's like the opponent has a choice. So like if I attack you with an angel, and you have creatures, I can choose just not to attack or not to block. Sorry,
Oh,
and
okay.
such. Uh, but
Did you
for
win? What just
uh,
happened?
I won.
Okay.
Yeah, I know, pretty quick and messy.
Oh, this is weird.
I know, it's just so different, isn't it?
They went like, "Oh, okay, let's make a game for the MTG fans." And they're like, "All right, let's turn it into a map sim slash RTS."
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and they completely broke the mechanics of the game as well. So, uh,
The mechanics of the card game,
yeah, the
or
mechanics of the card game don't work the best in this in
yeah,
hilarious ways.
I
So
can I can kind of see what they're going for though. They're trying to make it more action oriented, but they're trying to like find a way to represent what a Magic the Gathering battle would look like
yeah,
in concept. 'Cause, like, you're summoning, because like, yeah, the Magic the Gathering, the game, in reality is two dudes sitting at a table throwing cards down that do things.
yeah,
But in like, the game lore, it would probably look like this?
yeah.
Maybe? Like,
In the
wizards summoning things and attacking each other with them.
yeah, that would 100% be like the real lore of it. Yeah. So it's but they do a decent job of getting some of the mechanics down, like the mana, like because you're not because it's real time. You know, you're not actually tapping cards, so they give it a cooldown counter, which is pretty neat. So when I use my mana, I just have to wait X amount of seconds, and then I get it back. It
Yeah.
refreshes. But and the same thing for like attacking. So like my white knight just hit a dude, and so he's now on cooldown for a little bit until he refreshes, and then he's good to go again.
Okay.
So it's not so they're not moving all the time. So like you see with this vampire bat, it's got this little arrow symbol.
Yeah.
That means it's tapped, so it can't move. My white knight just lost it, so it can move again and be interacted with. But one of the problems of the game that they did was they completely broke one particular card, which is called Sarah Angel, and its ability is it doesn't tap to attack. So in the card game, it just means you can block with it later on, so it's still active.
Yeah.
But in this game, there's a cooldown. So what they did was it made it so the card has no cooldown time. So which is really broken because
You can just kind of spam it.
it just keeps going and it flies. So nothing below it can actually reach it to block
Yeah.
it. So it just flies over everything, clunks the dude like my knight just did. And now if I go back, my knight is just going to be like here for a while until he goes, after like 20 seconds, he'll go back on his own to attack again. But Sarah Angel doesn't have the cooldown, so it just flies again, and flies again, and flies
Oh,
again.
that seems so broken.
It is the most broken card in this game. Like, see my white knight's going, and he's gonna do his little business,
Yeah.
but there's no cooldown.
This is kind of giving me like Boba vibes here.
Oh yeah,
Like how you're sending like these like what are essentially creeps to the other player's territory
yeah,
and whittling down their health and resources.
yeah. That's a good way of looking at it in the
It's
modern
like
day
a
too.
it's like a very weird, like very prototype uh defense of the ancients.
Yeah. And there is a little bit of strategy to it because like every stage has, you see a different map. So this one has bridges.
Yeah.
So I could just put some dudes here, and unless the opponent flies, they're not going to get through my dudes.
Okay, that's
Uh,
pretty cool. So they're putting like some RTS elements into this. This isn't
yeah,
just like you're just mobbing the other player.
yeah. Like, here's my wall of swords. Like, it can't attack an opponent because it's a wall. So I just left it here like a wall. So
Okay, yeah.
if the enemy wants to get to me. So here's my Sarah Angel. We'll see her in action. She's flying, doing her business, and then in a moment we'll see her pop up here, and then keep on going.
You don't have to like. There's no cool. So is when it's tapped? Is that what is the cooldown?
Yeah, that is the cooldown. So
But she doesn't have a tap. She doesn't have to tap.
no, she has no cooldown at all.
Well, did they just forget like how their own game works?
I think they didn't think people would break it that easily. Um, so that's what I think.
Okay.
And such, because it's broken as much as for campaign. Like if you play head to head, there's ways to deal with her. But
Yeah.
in
Okay. So it's
campaign,
just bots don't know how to deal with it.
yeah, bots have a hard time with it. But the other issue is even if you're not a bot, like you have to specifically uh you have to
You have to kid out
specifically
against that
kid out
strategy.
against it. Yeah,
Yeah.
because if you creatures don't fly, you can't block her. So she'll fly
Yeah.
over everything. And then there are a few cards that could just like insta kill her, but like some characters don't, some colors don't have those and
Okay.
such. Yeah. And yeah, all of these like kind of story things and things you see here, a lot of them are actual just cards. So this is like a Hypnotic Spectre, which is a real card, but they
Yeah.
just turned into like a dude for this story.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the things that I would do when I actually played this, because I have it on the PS1, is I would save the game and I would kind of like spam my reactions because I wanted to see, okay, what's the best result I can get and
Yeah.
such. So because I didn't want to lose stuff, so
Yeah.
I would just be like, I would save it, and then I'm like, oh, I didn't get the good answer, I'll just reload
A
and
save scum. That's
yep,
classic.
just save scum it up, and just I would just choose answers, and because sometimes you would think, well, that's just the dumb answer, but that's actually the answer it should be, or give you
Yeah.
the best one, and you wouldn't
Yeah.
think of it.
They hit you
So
with a little Witcher 3.
yeah,
The right answer is not always the obvious one.
yeah,
So you're playing this on PlayStation,
yeah.
but this looks like it would be like a million times better on PC.
Oh yeah, because like
Like this looks so clumsy. Like you're controlling what is essentially a mouse cursor with a D-pad,
yeah,
and
that's
like
fucking
and the battle map is like several screens big, and you're
yeah,
just like holding down and directionally to go to the other guy's territory to look at him or send your guys at him.
yeah.
Whereas
Uh,
on a mouse, you're just like flicking and then doing it and or hotkeying everything.
yeah, this it does. That is one of the problems for this game on PlayStation. If you want to get the real strategy elements, is it's hard to react to what the opponent is doing because you have to scroll from one side of the screen to the other, and
Yeah.
so like I could put up
Do
some
they
defenses.
have hotkeys like on your controller that let you like instantly look at the opponent or instantly come back to your base?
No, nothing
Okay, so
like that.
they didn't do anything at all to accommodate for the fact that this is on console.
No, like so there is a small little bit of a hotkey, like a quick use. So like right now I'm pressing R1 to bring up my cards here.
Yeah.
Uh and then I gotta move them around. But whatever is the front card you see there, I can press X and it will use it. Uh so there's a small bit of like a hotkey. but
That's more of like an interface
yeah, but
kind of
that's the
thing.
best you're gonna get.
Yes,
And
there's no like quality of life kind of function for the fact
yeah,
that you're on a console.
yeah, it's bad that way. The because we could see how slow this is scrolling, so it's really hard to do like your strategic defense of like I
Yeah,
want to put people around to do things like that.
yeah. So okay, so this looks like it was a PC game first, and this
Yeah,
is a port.
yeah.
But that's still pretty cool. Like this is 1997,
This is
96.
1996, 97. Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of cool. This was at a time where we didn't really get ports of PC games back then. It's like I could count on one hand maybe the ones that I know of off the top of my head. It's like StarCraft 64
Yeah.
and,
Command and
and like
Conquer.
Command and Conquer on PlayStation, yeah, and then like a year later, Half-Life and Quake 3 on Dreamcast.
Yeah. It's pretty. We didn't get a lot of it, so this is kind of a game of its time in that way.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. So as like someone who likes playing Magic the card game, does this game do anything for you? Like is this does this like scratch that MTG itch?
You know, it did. When I was a kid, I enjoyed playing this a lot because I grew up with these cards. This was my era when I kind of restarted. So, because this is fourth edition, which came out in '95, and that was the first set I played cards with, so it had that nostalgia factor. And
Yeah.
also, this can be a two-player game. If you do head-to-head and you have two controllers, you can play two players. So my Magic buddies and I would actually play this as
Okay.
well.
Is it a split screen, I'm guessing?
It's split screen, and
Yeah.
it can get hard. And we kind of had to make our own little rules list of like no Sarah
Little wonky. It's
Angels.
like, oh yeah, I'll just look at your screen and just know what your card loadout is, and I'll just
Yeah,
counter it.
and counter it, or I'm just gonna play Sarah Angels, and
Well, the
that's
thing, if he's playing Sarah Angels, then you just look at his deck and you're like, okay, well, I'll just build the counter to it
yeah,
because I can see what you're doing.
yeah, exactly. So it was kind of janky in that, but
Yeah.
in terms of like the lore, it was really cool that it had all of those kind of choose your own adventure aspects to it, and uh, you know, and also the fact like you in the story mode you don't get all the best cards at first. Like every game is kind of a bit different.
Yeah.
So like I'm kind of weak in a way. Like I learned that Sarah Angel's overpowered, but take away Sarah Angel, it's pretty balanced. Like you're not gonna have four of a card. It's kind of like you're gonna get a one shot, and you gotta learn how to use things properly. So it scratched my itch. Now, if you are not an MTG fan, you are gonna be wondering like, what kind of nonsense is this game?
Oh, I don't think you could play this game if you don't know MTG lore and cards.
Yeah,
This would be terrible experience. Like the game doesn't explain to you what stuff does. There's no tool tips.
yeah, it's you got to do it on the fly. Like you said, like I can go here, I can press square, or where was it? I thought I could. I could before. Oh, sorry. But it would tell me what it would do. But you're on the fly, so good luck with that.
Yeah. But at the same time, that's cool because they they know their audience.
Yeah.
So it's like this is for Magic the Gathering players. Like that's the barrier to entry.
Yeah.
But if you know your stuff, if you're part of the Magic discourse, that you will it seems pretty faithful to the card game in a lot of ways. And actually, like, what are the key ways that this game is faithful to the card game
That's a
to
really good
you?
question. So I would say the feel of the game. So like all of the artwork represents what the card is. Like for the creatures, like I can tell immediately that's a Wall of Swords. That's a Goblin Balloon Brigade. Uh, if I see down here, where is he? That's Merfolk and Pearl Trident. That's a White Knight. So as a Magic fan, I can immediately tell that is what it should be. Uh, so
Oh, so
that's
like the in-game sprites,
yeah,
like the way they're represented on the battlefield seems to be pretty.
as accurate as you can get from a top-down look on in this era,
Yeah.
100%. Uh,
Okay.
and then also the uh, what's the other word I'm looking for? Just the feel of the world in like when we get back to like the world screen and like when we saw all the artwork of the different places and that felt like original because this was a time where the lore wasn't that deep in Magic in the novels.
Yeah.
uh it was mostly like short story style lore
Yeah.
where here's a big open world and authors kind of made their own kind of stories based off of cards. Like
Yeah.
what would the story be for this card or this open world? And so I kind of get that feeling here too with this. Like if I go up into the wastes, I'll be like, "Oh, cool. This is what the lore would feel like if I was in this area
Yeah.
versus all the others."
Yeah.
Which is something I like. And also, now this is the campaign mode. Now uh the real fun part that feels authentic is when you actually get to build a real deck. Cuz this is, random cards the game will give you. Uh Now I'll quickly show off duel mode, which will have you can actually build your own deck. And so
Hmm.
now we're getting to the real feel of what is this game really about? It's I want to make my own deck. And they have all the cards from fourth edition. And so you can just whoops, where is it? Yeah. So you can just go through every single card they had from that set and just
Yeah.
make your own deck. So
Hmm.
white cards, blue cards, black, red, green, artifacts, and so on. So, uh, my buddy and I would do this a bunch. Now, granted, we can see what each other are doing, but it was kind of, there were some fights because of how cheap we would get. It was just funny.
No pixies, man.
Yeah, no pixies. And then you can even save. You can load decks and stuff. So like what's it? Load directory. Um, I forget. Yeah, but you know what? You are true. This is a bit unwieldy to use at times because you're using a controller
Yeah.
versus uh a mouse. So
It just honestly looks like they plopped the PC game onto a console
yeah.
with, without much thought of how console players would interface with the game with a controller and not a mouse.
Yeah, and it gets a bit tough because you're just like I'm moving and I'm like, oh, I'm kind of on the white but I'm not enough on the white, so I hit the green, or it feels weird sometimes when you're kind of
Yeah.
you want to move but then you're like here's fluid and then you're like I gotta do short presses.
Yeah,
But
that's okay. This was a long time ago. This was like
yeah,
way before they figured out how to do PC ports on console.
yeah.
Like it
So
wouldn't be for another like I would like 2 generations until they would start getting that right.
yeah, yeah, and even if you don't have a buddy, like I can play against the computer, which is
Bot
pretty cool.
matches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bot matches, and so I can, this is the the character here, they'll start with their default deck, but like the game has a bunch of pre-made decks already. Like, or you could just give them one yourself, make one up,
Yeah.
to make it as hard or as easy as you choose.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of fun with that, and the game definitely has, to me, as an actual player of the game, there's a different feel when you know I have four of something versus one of something.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
this is like a real deck, and so I'll know I got four of this card. I can use it and waste it, or I don't have to hold back.
Yeah.
And so yeah, here's another map, which is pretty short one actually. You know, just get through the middle.
This overhead perspective for strategy kind of reminds me of I think it was Total Annihilation, an RTS on PC that I think
Mhm.
used this kind of same perspective, because I think most strategy games use like like a semi fake isometric,
Yeah.
like at an angle perspective.
Hmm.
But the only games that I can think of that use this straight up overhead were Warcraft and Total Annihilation, I think. This kind of reminds me of that. But this game looks like it has it where it counts. Like for Magic players,
Oh
it looks
yeah.
like they tried to incorporate the card game the best they could into this weird, wacky, like RTS, RTS like map control hybrid game.
Yeah. And it is like, you know, when I was playing it in 97, 98, I was just like, this is fun, this is great as a Magic
Yeah,
player. Especially
yeah,
like being from the East Coast, weren't a lot of Magic players at that time. So you know, if you can't play with your friends or you don't have anyone to play with, it's like you can this lets you play the game.
yeah. This
Uh,
is actually a pretty interesting direction, because like the easy thing to do would be to you just port the card game digitally into the video game, and you're
yeah.
just playing the card game in the video game. That's like the obvious way to
Yeah.
go. But this is kind of more interesting in some ways, because they've kind of like extrapolated these abstract ideas about how a card game functions into like an RTS that's played in real time as opposed to turn based.
Yeah, and the fun what if about this game is if it didn't come first, because they did make card games on the PS1. So there's the Digimon card game and the Monster Rancher card game, and they play just like card games. There's
Yeah,
no overhead real time stuff like this. They are just straight card games
yeah,
and with a story. And so, but they came out after the Magic one. So that would have been like a fun, like kind of what if Digimon card game came first, and then the Magic people saw like, oh hey, we can actually just make this a card game instead of an
right,
RTS,
right,
uh, and
right.
such. Because you know this, you know, in preparation for this, like I did a little check, like try to find a Wikipedia of the game and stuff, and there's like nothing of this around the internet, and
Yeah,
you know, it didn't get the best of reviews. The best review was literally like, "This is only for Magic players. Everyone else is gonna be like,
can suck
what?
it.
Yeah, it's like WTF is this game?"
Yeah,
Um, so it's you know, it would have been really cool if like if it sold enough that Wizards was like Wizards of the Coast and Acclaim, because this is made by Acclaim. This is like
oh wow.
the NBA Jam guys. So
What?
yeah, this
uh you sure about that?
yeah, this is made by Acclaim. Yeah.
I mean, they I don't think they developed NBA Jam though.
Well,
I'm
who did NBA Jam?
pretty sure a Midway team
Oh,
developed that.
sorry, my mistake. Midway, but Acclaim made this. So it wasn't a you know, some scrub company that made the game.
Yeah.
How did I forget that Midway made it? Made NBA Jam.
Well, I mean, Acclaim I think, did the port of the console versions.
Oh, that might be why.
I think. I don't know. It's been a long time.
Dark ritual. Tap mana. Hypnotic specter. Immolation.
I feel like this is. I kind of want to see what a modern version of this looks like.
I think they tried. They tried to do it on Xbox, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was one on there called Battlegrounds that they tried.
What's this one called?
Battlemage. It's been a while since I played the Xbox one. I had a friend who had it, and I played it a bit, and it was interesting from what I remember, but I don't remember much.
What is it, like this?
It's kinda ish like this, but I'll be honest, it's been so long, and I don't actually have an Xbox. I don't remember much about how it worked. I would just be playing the guest game. Yeah. But yeah, this is about it. We had the campaign mode, which we saw. Here's the head-to-head, and you know that's about it for this game. It's just more of the same. But it gets addictive because like right now I'm just like I haven't played Magic in so long, and I'm just like I'm just wanting to keep sitting down and playing more of this.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna call that a wrap then here for the end of the video. And yeah, so this everyone, here's Magic the Gathering Battlemage on the PlayStation 1. Also, you can get it on the PC if you
probably play that one.
Probably play that one because I mean even here, right? You got this like really janky box.
Yeah. Right? So good.
You know, let's do this.
Yeah.
And it just takes so long to do it. That it's like, all right, game. So yeah. So there we go, guys. Welcome to 1997 Magic the Gathering. So this is Dane, and with me as always is Danny, and we will catch you on the flip side.
All right, groovy.